Welcome back to The Express, everybody. Terry Lee and George DiMatteis with you as we look at the tribute and the raw emotion that has overtaken the Stadio Olimpico right now as they celebrate 28 long years total with Roma for Francesco Totti, 25 with the senior team, and understandably not a dry eye in the house, George.
Yeah, you're talking about, they mentioned the king of Rome, and what better city to be the king of than Rome? You're talking about one of the world's great cities. You mentioned 28 years with the club. That's when he made his debut with the youth academy, when he joined the youth academy. And it is a rare sight to see one player be with a team for almost 30 years. And he had plenty of opportunities to go to other clubs, but he stayed in the Italian capital, and he became an icon and a hero and a king of one of the great cities in all of the world. So it's a beautiful tribute. He deserves a lot more than that, and hopefully the club will come correct in the next couple of months.
Oh, I can't imagine what is going through his head right now as he has to make this lap around the Olimpico and see all those crying fans in the stands, something that the fans are going to remember for the rest of their lives, and certainly he will as well.
Yeah, for sure. And there are going to be about another 1.5 million Romans who say, yeah, I was in Stadio Olimpico when Francesco Totti made his lap around the field there. They probably weren't, but still they feel the emotion, they feel the connection with Francesco Totti, and it's a great sight to see. But remember, he hasn't officially retired from football. He just said he's not going to play for Roma anymore. And to see him in any other uniform, it just would not be right. It would not be right. So hopefully there's talk that he might be part of the club directors and on the board, which he deserves that right to be. So we'll see. But there are people who grew up on Francesco Totti, kids who grew up, grown adults now, who grew up with Francesco Totti. So this is, it's a family member for a lot of them.
And that's a good point, George. There are people out there who have not known Roma without Totti.
Right.
He's been there since they were born.
Right.
And now he's gone. It's a little bit surreal at this point, and he's probably thinking the same thing right now. Well, one guy who's not going to forget this game and this moment is Tancredi Palmieri, who's been following Totti for his entire career. Tancredi, what an emotional day. What can you tell us about what you're feeling right now?
Buongiorno, guys. Well, I have to tell you, maybe it's not nice to show on TV, but I'm shivering at this moment. I'm really shivering. I've seen Francesco Totti crying. Now it's not like seeing Virgin Mary crying, but I have never seen him crying, not even for the World Cup, not even for the Scudetto. And that was the moment in which he was going to hug his kids when he couldn't keep the tears. It's absolutely incredible. The last time that there was so full with so much giallo-rosso color, this stadium was probably in 2001 when Roma won Scudetto. Now Francesco Totti is giving the lap of honor after receiving a celebrative number 10 from the president James Pallotta. There was the whole Roma team really emotional. We saw Florenzi pouring tears down. They did the parade for Francesco Totti. It's unbelievable. You said one thing that is very good. You said about it wasn't Roma on the geographical map of football in the history before Totti. It's true they were in the final of European Cup, but we never saw, honestly, people traveling to Rome to watch Roma, to watch Totti. Well, Totti, being a Roma, staying with Roma for his whole career, made the point not of bringing Roma around the world, but of pushing the world to come outside and come to Roma to visit Roma.
Thank you, Tancredi. Obviously, you're seeing the tears off of Totti, but also his fellow teammates, and also saw Spalletti wiping away a few tears as well. What was the relationship like between the player and coach in these last few months?
Well, I have to say it was very emotional. I have to say also the moment when the team were announced before the game, and the second last name to be announced was Francesco Totti, and the Stadio Olimpico exploded. The very last name was the manager Luciano Spalletti, and he was booed, and it's so strange because this second place for Luciano Spalletti is a kind of a miracle. Luciano Spalletti has been very firm in his all last months, making the point that Totti wasn't good enough, not even to play the last few minutes, and he resisted till the very last game. This probably means till the moment when the future of Roma was not belonging anymore to himself, but to the Roma players as well, because it is the known secret that from tomorrow Luciano Spalletti will join Inter. So this Champions League qualifying is something that is going in the benefit of the players of Roma, of what Francesco Totti would have been able to do. So he played Francesco Totti in the last 38 minutes. The result was still 1-1. Genoa was able to come back. I have to tell you, and now if you probably hear booing for a moment the stadium, it's because they just showed for a few seconds Luciano Spalletti, and all the fans were merciless with him, while instead Francesco Totti is taking the last applause of the Curva Nord. So Luciano Spalletti was stable in his intention till almost at the end, and then the last 38 minutes was like, I've done whatever, now it's up to Francesco Totti and it's up to those players. And they did it in the end, and it was absolutely dramatic. If Shakespeare could write a play about football, he might use this game.
Tancredi, it's your fratello George Di Mattelis here in the studio. I wanted to ask you, what is your best memory about Francesco Totti? What's your favorite memory about Francesco Totti's career?
Well, okay, thanks for putting me in trouble in this moment. I have to tell you, well, Francesco Totti got injured 3 months before the World Cup, okay? And I've never seen Italy winning the World Cup, and I was sure that it could be something unforgettable, and it was. And in a whatever normal situation, Francesco Totti or whatever other player could never make it after that injury, could never recover for the World Cup. And it was, what, 75 days? And he did it, and still it was such a difficult situation, because still there was all the calciopoli, all the scandal, all the odds against Italy. And that was another factor of Francesco Totti recovering in time for the World Cup. And it was a demonstration that things can happen in life if you believe. He believed in that. Italians believed in that. So that is also the legacy.
Thank you so much, Tancredi. Obviously a very emotional moment for everybody there in the Stadio Olimpico, and for you as well. Thank you so much for sharing your memories. We're going to talk to you in just a moment. We're going to take a quick break, step aside here, but the tribute goes on here at the Stadio Olimpico for Francesco Totti. Do not go anywhere. We will be right back with it in just a moment. By the end of the day, but all of that takes a back seat to the man that we just saw here, Francesco Totti, as he's being celebrated for an incredible career with Roma, and it is so emotional for him, for everybody that's in the stands, for our Tancredi Palmieri, who's been witnessing the season and the progress that Totti's made through his career as well. And it's an unusual day, isn't it, to say goodbye to such a legend.
May 28, 2017. That is a huge day in the history of the Rome Football Club. Associazione Calcio, Associazione Sportiva Roma, as I try to say it correctly there. But the Giallorossi, it's a huge day for them. But also, not only for Roma, but also for fans of Italian football as a whole, for that whole nation, because this is a man who won the World Cup. He's been the number 10 for a long time, but he's also represented the Azzurri in a classy manner. You don't hear Totti in any kind of scandals. You don't hear any Totti in any kind of negative light or any kind of negative news throughout his career. He's done it with a lot of class and dignity, and that's something that Italian fans, whether you like Inter, Milan, whatever team you like, Lazio, you can respect that, because he not only represented his club, his city, but he represented his nation and his national team with class and with dignity as well.
As he did. Let's send it back to Tancredi, who is pitch side here, taking in what has been an emotional day so far. Tancredi, there's been a lot of talk about what's next for Totti. He hasn't actually come out and said he's retiring. There's talk about if he's going to take a directorial role with the club or if he's going to join another club. What do you think? What's next for Totti?
Well, guys, maybe you in Miami could be prepared, because actually the best option that could come for Totti after this, it's exactly at Miami FC, trained by his longtime friend Alessandro Nesta. We know that Francesco Totti got an already signed contract as an executive for Roma. It's a 6 years contract, but in his statement 3 days ago, Francesco Totti was very clear, saying on Monday a new challenge is starting for me. Maybe just he didn't, we know that he didn't want to retire, and we know also that he didn't want that others would call the retire in his place. So maybe even if probably is not fully fit for that, maybe he wants 1 year more just to stick it up on the face of people that said you have to retire. And there are two options at the moment on the table. Dubai with Diego Armando Maradona, but that is not really tempting Francesco Totti, and Miami FC Nesta is there. It is a project with Italian label, and it's probably could be just a nice last walk from on the world of football for Francesco Totti, or otherwise he will just give a bit of suspense and then he will say, okay, I will become an executive for Roma. But in fairness, he wouldn't play obviously in another team in Italy. Unlikely would play in another team in Europe unless a big offer would come from a very big club, but it hasn't come, honestly. Only smallest club, it wouldn't make sense. And so really it's going to be or hanging the boots or having a walk in Miami, or having a football walk in Miami.
Yeah, and Tancredi, George and I can vouch for the weather here, so that might be a good move for him.
Yeah, and one thing for sure about if he comes to Miami, Tancredi, I know if he walks the streets of Rome, he will be mobbed. It'll be very difficult for him to live his life. But if he comes to Miami, he might not be recognized, so he'll be able to have a little more of a peaceful, calm life. That is for sure. Is he okay with playing NASL football, which is second division, still quality football? Is he okay with playing in the NASL for Alessandro Nesta, one of his teammates in the national team?
Yes, indeed. I mean, but that could be only, I would say, a nice goodbye to football, while the goodbye to the Stadio Olimpico is arriving now. Francesco Totti is completing his walk around his lap of honor around Stadio Olimpico. Here he comes in front of all his of all teammates. They are all waiting in the middle of the pitch for him. First, he's stopping with all the assistants, all the technical assistants, grabbing his son. That moment, I have to tell you, the moment where he went close to his kids, the moment where he hugged them, it was more than emotional. It was very hard to hold the tears back, because as I told you, never saw Francesco Totti crying, not in the moments of pain, not in the moments of joy, but probably when you are in such a milestone of your life, of your career, and you face the future after you, that those are the kids, your sons, well, you just relive again all your life, and that's why Totti became emotional. Now Totti walking towards all the Roma Football Club, or all the Associazione Sportiva Roma that is standing there and waiting for him. There is also Luciano Spalletti there, all of them with a big shirt number 10 that is lying on the pitch. You see Francesco Totti waving, giving the last goodbye also to the press box, to the Tribuna Monte Mario, to everybody. His kids are with them, the cameraman is with them, and then the pasillo, as they would call it in Spanish, the parade, the passeggiata, as would be in Italian. Totti standing there in the pitch, his kids with him. We'll see if there will be a speech. There is Captain Future, Daniele De Rossi, that is bringing a commemorative plate to him. He's there. Today he scored, Daniele De Rossi, and he just took the baton, took the torch for the future. De Rossi kissing the kids, it is very emotional, guys. Hugging the future, hugging what the present that today becomes the past. De Rossi, that is the other beating heart of Roma. it's hugging Francesco Totti. He's been waiting for a long time for becoming the captain of Roma, but in fairness, he never was pushing for that. He always said, for me, it has been an honor to be standing by the side of Francesco Totti, and I hope he will just last as long as he can. He's trying to forcing a smile, Francesco Totti. Everybody crying, Manolas crying, Daniele De Rossi trying to stay serious, trying not to break down in tears. Totti shaking the hand of Luciano Spalletti and then going with all his teammates, Fazio, Salah, Rudiger, Florenzi, that is completely destroyed by tears, Stefan El Shaarawy as well.
Tancredi, thank you so much for your reporting, your live reporting there, and giving us the breakdown of exactly what we're seeing. George, are we ever going to see a man of this caliber, a player of this caliber again?
Of his caliber, probably, but with one club, no, probably not. It's going to be rare. Totti, what he means, it's not only just what he means to the club, but I mean, he's a Roman. That's his hometown. I mean, Messi came up through Barcelona, but he's not born in Barcelona. He's born in Argentina. This guy is born and raised in Rome, came through the Roman system. We'll see.
Do not go anywhere. We are all about Serie A Multicalcio when we return. And say goodbye to Francesco Totti and his Roma reign.